It's strange. Sometimes it's very slow, and you have a lot of time to kill, whether that's at home or in a hotel or maybe at an airport. And then other times there's a lot of rush in. Everything has to be done quickly, or you're running late for something. Like if you're running late for a flight, or you get to a festival or club late, and you have to get set up and start straight away. So it's strange. It's a mixture of two extremes. Things being quite slow and you having a lot of time to kill, and then being very fast. And also the other way is a lot of time is spent on your own. So yeah, sometimes you're just keeping yourself company, and then suddenly you're thrown into a very sociable situation, like a meal or a club, or even being on a plane. Even though it's full of strangers, it's not private. You're with hundreds of people you don't know. So it's kind of strange, and especially the feeling of going from maybe the hotel room on your own to a club where people are watching what you play and maybe want to talk to you and want to meet you, and then like maybe 10 minutes, 20 minutes after you finish playing, you're back alone again. So it's quite a strange kind of thing between very social times and very kind of lonesome times. Oh no, I don't feel complete at all. I feel like I haven't started, you know. Especially when I do my albums. I released my third album earlier this year. And yeah, whenever you do an album, it also gives you a bit more time in the studio to kind of reflect on where you're at, what you know. The processes of writing all my albums have been times where I've learned the most as a producer, and sort of forced myself to use new equipment or new techniques. And every time I come out of the album writing process and I realise I don't know as much as I thought I knew, or there's lots of new either technical kind of techniques and studio techniques, or there's just other types of music outside of techno that I don't understand or don't have such a knowledge of. So no, I don't know everything. I don't know every new track that's coming out, and I don't know every kind of classic techno track from the 90s or the last decade. So yeah, there's always so much to learn, and some gigs I think I can just go in and kind of do my thing and I'm happy with what I do, and other times there's a DJ playing before or after me. And it's not about the reaction they're getting from the crowd or whether they're playing better or worse than me. It's not my position to judge that. But it's just sometimes you see another DJ and the way they approach DJing is completely different to me, and the tracks they choose and the order they play them in and how they mix them. It's just very different to what I do, and you learn something like that. I like to see DJs that challenge me. I don't want to see someone who plays, in my opinion, like a bit like me, but maybe it's not as well known as me. I don't want that. I want to play with someone. It doesn't matter if they're a big star or someone brand new, but I want to see something different and something that I can learn from. Well, the main idea for Perc Trax, it started off as a label for my own productions, but very soon it turned into, by the second release, it was releasing music by people apart from me. So the main thing for Perc Trax is I'm trying to spotlight tracks and artists that I really believe in, that I want to play in my sets, because as I said before, when I started DJing, vinyl was the main format. So if you wanted to play something in the sets, you probably could play off a CD, but the main thing was getting it on a test pressing. That'd be the first time you really played it out properly. So it's a kind of shine a spotlight on music and artists that I believe in, artists that I think maybe deserve to be more well known than they already are, and just to highlight tracks that really fit into my sets. And it's interesting, as soon as an artist comes on Perc Trax and establishes themselves, that almost kind of shuts the door on that sound for somebody else, because I don't want someone that sounds like Ansem. I don't want someone now that sounds like A&D, or I don't want someone that sounds like Scaramalia, because those guys, they do their own thing and they have their own sound. So especially after the A&D record came out on Perc Trax a while ago, I had lots of demos that sounded quite like A&D, and they're like, oh, you signed A&D, so this must be the sound that Perc Trax is now releasing. When I'm looking for the exact opposite. So yeah, I'm looking for, there's no rules on Perc Trax. I'm just looking for music that I'll play in a set. Like the oldest artist or the most established artist is probably someone like Thomas Heckman. And then you got someone like Kieran Ansem, who's much younger, and then you've got people like Ghost in the Machine, who are very established, but in a different form of music. They're established in hardcore, so they're coming into techno from a completely different perspective, and that's a really interesting thing. They haven't been schooled in just playing techno gigs for 10 years or something. They come from a very different direction, and that makes them as interesting as an artist as some new kid who's making techno, you know, for the first year or something. With specifically with like electronic music, and especially sort of techno and the kind of techno that Perc Trax releases, yes, it's hard to hear something and not think, oh, that'd be perfect for the label, or maybe that's not right for the label, but it would fit my sets, or it would fit my sets if I just did this to it and did a re-edit or something like that. But aside from that, when I'm listening to any other music, I can never completely switch off, and I'm always listening to it for maybe inspiration for my own productions, and especially for the longer projects like the album projects. But yeah, I can still kind of sit down and put on an album and listen to something with my girlfriend that is just something different, and I'm always learning. I'm always, my ears are always open to learn things and see how something's done, especially music that's maybe made in the 80s or 70s, or even some stuff I've been listening to from like the 40s and 50s, this early kind of electronic sort of laboratory electronic sort of experiments, stuff like that. You can learn so much from, and yeah, it's not something I'd ever play in a DJ set or release something like that on Perc Trax. But yeah, I'm always, half of me is listening to it as just a music lover, and half of me is learning from it and taking a little bit of the spirit away from the music to put into my own productions. No, not really. I always say this, a bit like what I said about the demos of Perc Trax. It's much better to just be the best version of yourself you can, even if you think you don't sound as good as other people. Just be yourself and don't try and copy other artists. Learn from other artists and see how they do things, but become an amalgamation of everything you love as well as your own personality. Don't just copy other people. I think as long as the industry has more people coming through like that, more artists that have personality and character, then I think everything will be fine. If everyone starts to just make music that sounds like the same 4 or 5 artists that are successful now, then there's going to be a lot of trouble. But yeah, I hope everyone just can kind of keep doing their own thing. What I love about techno is everyone generally is nice and everyone gets on with each other. And when I can meet DJs from techno that I'm not particularly a fan of their music, and they might not like my music, but you can still get on with them. They're still good people. So yeah, I hope that continues, and I just hope the scene continues to grow and also to progress musically.